I'd like to call the meeting for the Human Resources Committee to order. And will the secretary please read the roll?
Director Mrs. Barnett, Director Robinson,
Present.
Chair Sorrell,
Present.
and also for the record, oh, I just said Robinson, right? Also for the record, Director Harrington is present.
Thank you so much. The next regular meeting for the committee is scheduled for Thursday, May 7th at 11:30 a.m. You don't have anyone on virtual?
We do not.
Okay. All right. The next item is public testimony. As a reminder, public written testimony will not be read into the record, but will be included in the official record of this meeting and posted to the website. And Madam Secretary, do we have any speakers that are registered for, in-person or virtual testimony this morning?
We did not receive any registrations nor any written testimony.
All right, thank you. All right, the minutes of the November 13th Human Resources Committee meeting were approved by the board in November, but they're being presented here today for the committee's acceptance. Are there any corrections or revisions to be made to those minutes? Seeing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept item 3A, the Human Resources Committee meeting minutes for November 13th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any discussions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it, and so the motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the report is from the Chief Human Resources Officer, which will be reviewed by Wynn Burris. Thank you, Wynn.
All right, good morning. We'll go ahead and get started. As you can see on the screen, this is just a broad overview of our demographics. So we'll go through this. We'll also cover how we ended FY '25. We'll talk a little bit about where we're at currently, year to date, and then RJ and Karen will talk a little bit today about our talent management strategy. Okay, so CCH's workforce is composed of 6,441 employees. It's racially and ethnically diverse, reflecting the community it serves, and reinforcing the organization's commitment to equity, inclusion, and culturally responsive care. The workforce is predominantly clinical, female, and Black or African American. Next slide, please. I believe you've seen this before, but this is just a highlight of what the HR department is made up of. In FY '20, our structure supports a centralized HR function with dedicated pipeline support. Our over 6,600 employees, or 6,400 employees. We currently have 68 positions budgeted, 64 are filled, and we have 4 vacant positions that are currently being recruited for right now. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about our metrics. So we'll talk about how we ended '25 and then where we're at here in '26. So in FY '25, we made significant progress in hiring. We ended the fiscal year with 2,020 offers made. Of those 2,020, 1,421 were accepted, which is a 73% offer acceptance rate. In comparison, we made 1,863 offers in FY 2024. We had an acceptance rate of 64%, so increases in all areas. Our recruitment team filled over 1,300 positions, so that's up 14% year over year. Of those 1,300, 944, so 71% were external new hires, and 29% were internal hires consisting of promotions and transfers. From a separation standpoint, we show an overall decline in separations, especially retirements, down about 16% as compared to this time last year. Discharges and resignations are nearly flat compared to last year. Net new hire activity, we'd like to highlight the increase we had in net new hires. Last year, this time, we had a net hire count of 294. This year, the number increased to 464. So that's an increase of 170 hires and a 58% increase year over year.
I just want to state that's actually remarkable. I know those are numbers, but you gave some really good numbers, especially the resignations and the discharges. I think you said flat.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Flat out right, excellent under any standards. That's very good. I just thought it was worthy of saying something. You gave some other stuff that was good too, but those numbers just knocked me out.
So we're doing a lot of work. The recruitment team, the entire HR team is doing a lot of work to ensure that we were able to continue to process people through our pipeline.
Cool. Very good.
Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide takes a little bit of a look at our vacant positions. Currently, we have 1,689 positions that are general vacancies within CCH. Of that, about 62% of those are in the recruitment process. Our vacancy rate is at about 21.8%. This has kind of stayed about steady between this year and last year. Part of the reason it seems a little high right now at 21%, although it's a decrease, is because we added some additional positions into the 2026 budget. That includes 110 ARPA grant positions and 135 revenue cycle positions
62% currently in recruitment for those?
They're in some place in the recruitment process, 62% of those
Okay.
positions. Of those, 51% are in the post-validation phase, so we are moving through those to get them filled.
Okay.
Next slide, please. So we talked a little bit about 2025. Here's where we're currently at right now, for 2026. Year to date, we've made 332 offers. Of those, 242 were accepted, so we're still at about a 73% acceptance rate. Our recruitment team's still at 183 positions, and that's 54 positions more than we did this time last year. And then we are at 44 net hires compared to this time last year. So we are still trending very well as compared to last year. Separations year over year, we continue to show a positive decline. Total year-to-date separations have decreased from 124 to 109, so we're about a 14% reduction in total turnover. And then next slide, please. Our turnover has remained below the national hospital turnover rate. Nationally, the hospital turnover rate is 18.3%, and we are at 7.47.
Question, do you have any thought as to why that turnover rate has changed from last year?
Well, last year, I think we were a little higher. Where is it on there? So 8% last year. We're down at 7.47. I think it's going to annualize out somewhere close to it.
Okay.
It's more of a snapshot in time right now of what we're looking at. I still think we'll come in below 8%.
Okay. Well, we're not doing anything per se different.
I think, well,
It could be the environment too,
Well,
because this is a horrible time to try to look for a job.
we have great benefits. We have a pension. There's a lot of things that play in our favor. I also think the market is not as open right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect that people aren't leaving for certain reasons.
Right.
And I think, as we talk about manager training and we talk about development, I think we offer more opportunities than other organizations do.
Okay.
I think at one point you had also mentioned the provider or employee experience, which is in slightly a different area than yours.
It is.
It's employee experience, though, has been working to try to make sure that we enhance what happens in-house here so that we're able to retain better.
So we have enacted those. I know we talked about it. I know we started.
I know we haven't heard recently what specific activities. That may be something we may discuss as well, too. But if that may
Yeah, we can
factor
update
in.
you. We can update you on that in the next HR committee.
Mhm.
So we do the engagement survey every 2 years, and we're coming into another cycle. I think it's going to launch this summer. So we'll be doing another sampling. If you remember, we had 2 years ago and then 2 years before that, and we compared those two, and there was a significant increase. So we're hopeful we'll continue to see that trend. But
Thank you, though. I know that had been mentioned that we were working on improving the employment experience as part of retention as well, too.
This may be related to talent management, but how are you accounting for the aging workforce? And maybe not currently, given the environment, but in the coming years, changes in retirement?
Yeah, that's a great question in terms of our workforce planning. So we do have a snapshot of what our population is and where we see the most risk of retirement.
Right.
And so in our workforce planning initiatives, we do take that into account for our sourcing strategies. As well as our other, turnover and vacancy data, we do look at that as well for our sourcing plan.
Yeah, you don't see a tsunami in our future in terms of how many employees we have at a certain age that may be leaving at around the same time.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
You don't anticipate a tsunami where we have a large bulk of people turning 65 or older, that these numbers may change, because the demographics of our employee population.
No,
And people tend not to leave, so that's the good thing. But there's also maybe a point at which we have a much greater number of people that are age eligible for retirement and not for retirement.
Yeah, so our average workforce age right now is 48, average years of service is 10. It's a highly tenured workforce, so to RJ's point earlier, those are things we're going to have to identify, is it more administrative, is it nursing, where are the areas we see that group that's turning 65? Right now, it looks like the group that we see at the highest age is our administrative team, clerical.
I know.
we'll have to address that. It's not so much in our positions. I know that we do have some that are of that age, but it's not our most, at-risk population.
I know in
So
the
you have an
past-
at-risk population?
There isn't, we don't have a necessary, we have a 48, our average age of workforce is 48, so there isn't necessarily an at-risk population, but if you just looked at it all and said, okay, this is the one that's most at risk, you're probably looking at our administrative and clerical. Our positions don't appear on that level right now.
Right, right. Because they're the people that really make things work ultimately.
Absolutely.
And a large turnover in that group means the people that are expecting work to be done, work won't get done. So,
In the past, it had been mentioned about programs to try to ease people potentially into retirement, so that people might, if they're working full-time currently, there might be options as part of the employee experience to go down to 2/3 time or half-time that may keep them in the field, keep them here longer, but also help them to kind of slowly may settle into retirement. Is that something that you're looking at as part of the improvements in employee experience?
Yeah, I think if we look at our overall talent management strategy, I think that is something that we're definitely talking about. I think our mentioned a little bit about that from a workforce planning standpoint, things we have to look at to keep it competitive in the coming years.
I know there's also programs that are part of that, learn, earn, and return, that allow folks to then, work as more mentors and helping in that stage of their lives in administration, that may help to be able to continue them in the workforce employment, but at a less fast pace or full-time pace as they start to get older or maybe otherwise be eligible for retirement.
We may see that become more impactful at a change of administration, because currently the administration, the economy is somewhat in bad shape, so everyone knows the dollar is not as strong as it used to be, so why retire and make less? So that may help us somewhat, giving us we got at least a couple more years, and who knows what's gonna happen then.
Good point.
Any other questions?
not a question, but an observation. One of the things that you get with seasoned employees is institutional knowledge, historical knowledge, and it's most likely to know how things became the way they were. And it'd be helpful to capture some of that moving forward. I remember when I was working for the health department when the city of Chicago flooded downtown. And Chicago's an old city, and streets and sanitation had a lot of responsibility for making repairs. But a lot of the infrastructure of the city is underground. And the people that did that infrastructure are no longer here. And at that time, there were people that didn't even know where some of the tunnels went to. So we need to make sure that as we lose people, there's certain valuable institutional knowledge they have, that knowledge is transferred moving forward.
Understood. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so this is an overview of the direct care and core metrics. This slide emphasizes hiring velocity and attrition trends during the past month. Year to date, we've made 96 offers of the 150. I'm sorry, we made 156 offers. 101 were accepted, which provides us a 65% offer rate. Just to compare, FY 2025 at this point in time, we made 43 offers and we had 34 accepted.
Here's a question: what is the ratio we need to try to? Well, okay, let me restate the question. Start over differently. If we look at the number of nurses that we need, and since we don't have a magic wand, we can't magically make them appear in the next 12 months. Do we have a plan to say, hey, we want to be able to reach at a certain level by, I don't know, the 2-year mark, and then if that's the case, we need to have X number of people that we're making offers to with anticipation that we will be able to get Y as a reception if we're operating at 65%, so that we can at least have a plan toward trying to fill the void.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. So not specifically for nursing, which we probably need to drill down for nursing specifically. Those objectives are overall recruitment. So we do know how many offers we need to make this year in order to reach the net new rate that we want to make. And we've broken that down even by recruiter. So we have that. But specifically for nurse recruitment, we should probably drill down and have those specific goals for, nurse offers, direct, or care RN offers as well.
Sounds good. It almost sounds like you guys had somebody with Six Sigma in there helping out a little bit. That's what it sounds like, for sure. That's excellent. Good job.
Okay, and then next slide, please. So this slide covers our agency use for RN. So these metrics show our RN agency FTE trends from September of 2024 to December of 2025. In September, we had 498, almost 500 agency staff in nursing. Over the month, we've seen a steady decline. We ended December at 278 agency employees. That's a 44% reduction, and we continue to see that number drop. We expect that some of our conversion numbers are going to help there, and then we're also going to see some agency fall off as we start to demobilize some of the agency employees that we have as we hire new nurses. And I think RJ and Karen will speak a little bit about the recent hiring fairs we've had in nursing and how that's impacting our ability to reduce agency numbers. So they'll talk about that probably right after this. All right. Any questions there?
This is just a really notable improvement. Excellent job in working on that. That's an ongoing area that we've been discussing. So it's good to see not only the decreasing utilization rate, but being able to convert them over to our own staff.
So that's a lot of the hard work that RJ and team have been doing. So I'm going to step away for a second, let Karen come up and they can explain to you our talent acquisition strategy and a few other things that we're working on.
Great.
So I'll set the table, and Karen will take the next several slides to speak about the talent acquisition initiatives. But current state, we still are transitioning from largely transactional, just-in-time recruitment to more of a strategic delivery of recruitment. So that's where the workforce planning, comes in. That's where some of our partnerships and recruitment marketing comes in, and actually our actual target sourcing. And leveraging some technology in that way as well. So with that, we can go to the next slide, and then I'll hand it over to Karen.
Thanks, RJ, and good morning, everyone. So with this slide, this is really an overview of some of the key projects and initiatives that we have been working on and are currently working on. So one of the main ones is the agency conversion for our CN1 roles. Which, we were able to get a good amount of people through, and for the PIDs where we weren't able to get agency conversions, we put it through the accelerated hiring program. So that's definitely been able to help us with the uptick in number of nurse hires. For some of the other initiatives and projects, we have fully leveraged LinkedIn Recruiter to enhance our sourcing capabilities, but also to help with our employer branding across the LinkedIn network, which is the largest professional network. We're also using that to start projects to help with the roles that we need to start sourcing for now, if we know that they are hard to fill positions. We continue to collaborate with quality and process improvement to identify various opportunities to streamline our overall recruitment process. And we have done quite a few other things that we'll actually go into more details on the next coming slides, from the career fair calendar build out to some new talent attraction strategies and some additional improvements to the process. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. All right. So for this slide, this is the hiring fair calendar that we have put together. Previously, we've really been more reactive versus proactive, so we're trying to just continue to plan ahead and look to see what areas we need to focus future events on. The first two fairs that we've had this year were both for nursing, which resulted in really great numbers. We've been able to fill all of the positions for, it is escaping me from last month. Peri-ops and not med-surg. Oh, ED. We were able to hire all of the ED positions and also create a consolidated rank list. Peri-ops, we've identified that as a hard-to-fill position, so we'll definitely need to create a different strategy. And then the hiring fair that we actually had just 2 days ago for med-surg, we are able to offer for all of the vacancies and create yet another consolidated rank list. So really great results there. Some of the other upcoming fairs that we have are the, 38th National Black Nurses Day celebration, different fairs with some of the schools, and then we are trying to make sure that we're planning events to align with graduations for the different nursing programs. So we'll continue to expand that and continue to take a proactive stand.
I'm just curious, this is fantastic. I noticed that you're missing the number 6 ranked nursing school, which is literally across the street from us on the list. Why aren't we recruiting there?
So this is just a snapshot.
Okay,
If I
no
put
more.
all of it,
Okay,
it'll.
no problem, no problem. You answered my question,
But
thank
thank
you.
you. All right, we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. So in speaking of, the career fairs that we've had for nursing specifically, we definitely have a great number of turnouts for recent grads and new grads, people who are new to, their career. So in partnership with nursing leadership, we're really looking at how do we approach and attract the experienced nurses. So we really want to come in from a more relationship and networking focused approach, find ways to bring experienced nurses on our campus through maybe, leadership development, guest speakers on trending clinical topics, or partnering with continuing education vendors. This way, we can show them our campus, but also give them the opportunities to interact with some of our own nurses so that they can speak about their experience here and why they should consider applying for, CCH. So this one is definitely going to be, a long-term strategy, but we have to start sooner than later to really start reaping the rewards. So this is something we're excited about.
Is that the tenured spot between 11 and 15 years where it's more or less more difficult to get nurses in?
I would say with the career fairs that we've been doing, it's definitely been more recent grads. So with this strategy, it's for anyone who really has, more of that experience, 5+ and on, really targeting them to invite them on our campus.
Okay, I understand that, but the question that I'm asking is, if we break the nurses down to tenure, the 0 to 5, you're able to get fairly easily. But is it like the 5 to 11 year nurse that is the difficult one to bring in? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where's the soft spot that we're having trouble with?
Yeah, I would say that would be, also difficult, that specific target. So that is what we're looking into.
And I'm just curious, it sounds like it too, are you doing something similar to a grand rounds to try and attract the nurses in? And Chair, maybe you can speak more to this since you're the expert, for sure, at least among us. The point that I'm trying to get to here is, I'm sorry, hold on, let me retract that, I forgot. We got 2 experts on panel. I totally forgot, my mistake. But the question that I'm asking is, this has been a sore spot for a while, that we struggle in that particular tenure of nursing. My question is, would it be helpful if we had some type of educational grand rounds where they get a chance to get experiences that make them excited about coming here? Because I continue to stand on this platform that the best asset of Cook County is it's hard to beat what you can get here anywhere in the world. And so if we make that become a highlight of why you would want to come, if you are a somewhat seasoned nurse between 5 and 11 years, and you really want to progress and rocket your career, this is the place where you want to come, because once you get that experience, you can go anywhere in the world. if we can use that as something, and again, that may not be it, but use that as a way to be able to attract those nurses in the categories that we're missing. And the way that we can do it is having the grand round, so they almost rotate to the different areas that they will want to get that experience. And if you decide to stay, then maybe you might have a home here. Those types of things. Just a question. And
my response would be like looking to HR and the departments, is there capacity to do that? At least from what I've heard, you're taking a multi-pronged approach, and really thinking about different ways to recruit, retain, like support staff. So I'm not saying it, I think any of the ideas is really, is there capacity, to execute.
And you also have to consider, thank you very much, is that the learning trajectory of a nurse career is somewhat different than the learning trajectory of a medical career, because you tend to go through 4 years in medical school, 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 3 to 5 years of residency fellowship, and then you're starting to work. Nurses tend to go finishing their RN, then at some point, a couple, maybe other, children, family, paying back student loans, then coming back to get their BSN. Same thing, another break. Then they might, so catching those experienced nurses that at that 10-year point, are they at the time where they're now wanting to go to get an additional degree? So the employee experience could include ways to do loan repayment, ways to include learning or internships or fellowships in an area. So perioperative, ICU, MICU are also the harder to recruit nursing positions. So do we need a residency program or some type of training program, either for new nurses coming in, hey, this is where the excitement is, or we want to do ED nursing, so the higher acuity level, then you might need a residency training program to help to move those nurses into that role. Or if there's a nurse that has 10 years, they've paid back student loans, they've paid back, et cetera. Now they want to look at advancing towards being a charge nurse or a different level, then you can create those incentives. And HR has been looking at the way the nursing trajectory is to try to insert at those critical career change times what types of incentives may be of best need.
Does any other of the comrades have a program similar to what you described?
That would be an excellent question for HR to assess. In what ways are colleagues, hospitals in the area doing similarly to try to look at attracting. But having nursing residencies or having increasing our tuition reimbursement for those that may go to get their master's degree, to get their DNP or their PhD, all of those incentives that are traditionally have been part of benefits package for hospitals, how and where they're placed certainly is an area that we could discuss further, and it would be great to get feedback from HR and looking at what the other systems are doing as well too, so that we could best position ourselves for that.
It is my belief if we do what the chair just mentioned, it's going to change our whole perspective on how we can recruit. Our issue won't be can we find enough people. Now we get a chance to say yes, you, no, not you, because it changes the whole dynamic. It's a mind shift. It's totally different. It's actually giving nursing the respect that it should have, but it doesn't have for whatever reason. When you treat it like it's the profession that it really is, it changes everything. And now, because if you think about a typical academic institution that is considered to be at the top of the charts, this is what you do to be able to get the best students wanting to come, turning out the best people, and now they're doing great things. Because at one time, I think it used to be said, I think in Cook County, that at least 1 out of 3 physicians trained at county because it was the best. So everyone wanted to come through here because if you came out of here, you do it. Why can't we do that with nursing? Because we have the same people coming through here. We have the same experiences. So let's just take it to the next level, and then you guys get to be superstars.
Yeah, we certainly, and I appreciate the thoughts and the ideas. We'll certainly look into that with the, surrounding health systems and see what might be viable to bring here as another tactic and strategy to implement here. All of those ideas are welcome, and we can absolutely bring it back with what our findings are.
My guess is it may have a smidgen of, but not to the extent that it was just described.
Yeah,
And that makes us special if we can create that.
absolutely.
Any other questions? This has been a eventful discussion just as its own, plus we already have its marketing, you know, with Provident being the first, hospital training for Black nurses. Now we're being the first training for and moving forward to, and so you can start your career path and moving into something like perioperative, which is a more specialized nursing training, so you want something like a residency program.
Yep.
Or some of the other programs, we mentioned ICU, that take a little bit more intensity in nursing education to feel comfortable for new grads being able to move into. We create these ladders potentially, since other agencies and federal governments may be trying to remove some of the ladders with student loans. We could reinvent and reinvest in those ways as well too.
Oh, now that's powerful stuff, because now all of the programs are being removed, unless your parents or whoever has the money to do it, because you can't even borrow enough money, as we all know, to go to school.
Yeah.
Very good.
So we could literally say we're putting back the ladder.
Yeah.
Putting back the ladder for career. And those key points in nursing trajectory that 10 to, 5 to 10 years, that's when there's another shift. That 15 to 20 years, there'll be a shift if there's going to be a change moving up further into administration or changing to another role. And then being able to have, cross-training, so that you can, if you have an interest in this area, is this an area of nursing that you're interested in, allowing a rotation, quote unquote, to be able to see if this is something of interest to you, to then be able to move into that training for that. The many ways that we can look at to be able to accelerate and then allow that variation of training across a career trajectory for nursing.
And I would say the argument would be, if you say you don't have the manpower to do it, then you should make the request, because if we are lacking in nursing, and that is a critical part of the institution, then the money needs to go where the pain is so we can solve it. And that's something to bring to the full board to make it happen, because it doesn't make sense for us to have this great institution here with the capabilities. All we need now is the imagination to make it happen. So this is interesting. This is great.
Just my last question is, how are we thinking about the current federal landscape and the impact on the healthcare workforce, just in terms of the definitions of being a profession and access to, loans, the immigration policies, overall economic impact? And I know, I guess I think it's important to be in the current, but are we also anticipating some, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
So for nursing specifically, it's actually a part of the package here, in that once you join as an RN, there's actually tuition reimbursement all the way up through a DNP program, right? So there is growth and education opportunity. And then with our physicians, I would just take a second to commend IDFPR, because they are actually looking at alternative licensing pathways for physicians who are here already, but haven't redone a residency. So maybe they were a cardiac surgeon in their home country and
Yeah.
come here and don't want to devote another 8 to 10 years of training to be able to do that here. They're looking at alternate pathways to licensure here in the state.
Okay.
It's somewhat, they're not going to be a heart surgeon again here, right? But
Yeah.
they could go into primary care in underserved areas. So I do commend them for thinking of different ways to kind of fill the pipeline of physicians, because I think what's the number I've seen, doctors will be 90,000 short by 2037 in the U.S. So we have to start thinking differently, to your point. But there are a few things in play.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Any more questions? And we'll move forward. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Next slide, please. All right, so in terms of continuing to improve the talent attraction or talent acquisition experience, we just completed digitizing the onboarding experience for our new hires. So before, whenever new hires accepted an offer with us, we would send them a 26-page packet where they would need to print it out, complete it by hand, and when they come to their HR onboarding meeting, their appointments would take upwards of 90 minutes to complete. The team, the recruitment coordinators would, have struggles with like incomplete information, things that are hard to read, missing pages, et cetera. But now that we've digitized it and moved it to DocuSign, our candidates are able to fill out the onboarding paperwork that's now about 12 pages, where they can complete it via, laptop or mobile phone. It leads to a better experience. The information is clear, so it leads to having more accurate information when entering it into our database. And then also it streamlines our onboarding appointments, where now it takes only 10 to 15 minutes long. So that's definitely saved our team a lot of time, so we can focus on how else to make the candidate experience really positive. With digitizing the onboarding experience, we've also utilized that for our house staff onboarding. This has been a big project that we've been working with GME, EHS, and process improvement to streamline that entire process, where every July we would bring on over 150 residents. Each year, it's led to, quite some bumps and challenges. Now we've, really streamlined it. We have one cohesive database where all of the areas that are part of the onboarding experience is able to track the information. And we've also been able to send out our digitized onboarding. So last year, we would have to wait until about June to start getting paperwork from them, but now, much ahead of schedule, we already have 22 residents who have completed their onboarding paperwork. So again, that's just really streamlining the entire process for various departments within CCH. All right. Any questions on that before we go to the next slide? All right. So when we're looking at talent acquisition and the improvements that we want to do, we're really looking at it from a holistic lens. So looking at it from the actual talent acquisition team to the hiring partners that are a part of the recruitment journey, and then also looking at marketing and employer branding. So when we ask ourselves, how can we make talent acquisition as streamlined as possible, we look at how do we provide the talent acquisition team with the information and tools needed to succeed. So more trainings, centralizing resources, and also looking at the technology and tools that we have. How can we better optimize it, and how can we better leverage it to actually streamline the process, simplify it, get rid of some of those manual efforts so we can put those efforts elsewhere. So some of the technologies and tools that, we've implemented, again, is LinkedIn, digitizing the onboarding experience. We're working on improving reporting with, Tableau, and now we are embarking on our Taleo enhancement journey with DOT. All right, next slide. Now with the other part of the holistic lens of how do we continue to elevate talent acquisition here at CCH, we're also looking at how do we improve our candidate engagement and visibility. So we're really putting an emphasis on candidate experience. We are looking at, the recruitment event strategies. So again, being more proactive than reactive, and expanding and establishing partnerships with various other groups throughout the area. We're also looking at different recruitment marketing strategy to get our brand in front of people. And then, next slide. And the last part of the holistic lens is how do we better support our hiring partners? We know that hiring here at Cook County Health is a complex process, a little bit lengthy. So we need to look at how do we provide our hiring partners with the tools so they know exactly what they need to do? So from their experience, it's also as streamlined and efficient as possible. So that's, you know, creating different trainings, centralizing the information, really enhancing the partnership between talent acquisitions and the hiring teams. So one of the things that we've done is we've scheduled regular sync-up meetings between the recruiters and their hiring groups. We, you know, have been partnering on marketing initiatives, like for the nursing fairs, and then also for future, really looking at how do we become proactive in the workforce planning. Okay. Next slide. This is just an overview of all of the Taleo enhancements that we would like to do for our instance. So really partnering with BOT to figure out the resources and the timelines to get these completed. And we've broken it out into short-term initiatives, long-term initiatives, and future initiatives. So really prioritizing on what would make the biggest impact, but also what can be easily done. And then next slide. And this is just another viewpoint, aka a reminder of our recruitment process steps. Just again showing the complexities of it. And then next slide. Some of the other recruitment process improvements that we've been doing is really updating the request to hire journey for the hiring manager. So one of the challenges was not being able to upload job descriptions. So we've actually implemented that so hiring managers have direct access to the job description library so they can enter it when they submit their RTH. We're looking at how to add the position identification numbers to pre-populate this way and make sure that the data is complete. And then the last one is really the process of the RTH submission to budget. Instead of having it in that order, we are going to streamline it and have it go to HR. So this way we can go ahead and do the compensation review, make sure that the HR position control analyst can double check all of the information and then go through budget approval. Thank you.
This is more an observation than anything else. One of the things that there's got to be a real good balance between high tech and high touch, because what you're talking about is using a lot of technology to speed the process up and to make things more efficient and better, but nothing will take the place of high touch, actually meeting with people, talking to people, getting a sense of who the people are. So we don't want to lose one because we're relying so heavily on the other.
Agreed, and you know, with making the process more efficient and trying to leverage the technology better, it's really to allow our recruiters and recruitment coordinators to have more of that time with the candidates. Exactly.
All right, thank you, Karen.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry.
sorry. This may be not as relevant for the whole system, so bear with me. This is just based on my experience with the Department of Public Health. But where is it in terms of, as you're thinking about capacity building around supporting your hiring partners in the development of the job description? I know some are really standard and there are certain, you know, criteria, licensure, et cetera. But then there's others where I think there's a little bit of room. I know at the Department of Public Health, we always kind of tried to, and we worked with the team to do the best, but then it impacts recruitment.
Absolutely. Yeah, so our class and compensation team definitely collaborates with the department leads and managers to consult on what are the necessary elements of the job description to not only attract the ideal candidate, but also allow us for recruitment that doesn't limit a candidate pool. So a lot of times our managers, Lori Carter in class and compensation and our class and comp specialists, that's what they're doing. They're collaborating and advising on what elements what type of experience is necessary, not for an A++ candidate, but the ideal candidate who can do the job and also create a candidate pool that collaborative effort between class compensation and the department with some advising. Sometimes it's more of a push, or as opposed to a pull. We need to probably reach out a little more when we identify that there's some opportunities on the job description. But right now it is the departments coming to us asking for that guidance.
Thank you for doing that. Have a question?
Thanks, Karen. So I'll speak a little bit more about some of our modernization, HR modernization efforts. We're looking to improve how we recruit, support, and develop our workforce. So this centers on standardizing key processes, improving system reliability, strengthening compliance, and building practical leadership and workforce development capabilities that can scale over time. So our objective is to make HR more consistent, more efficient, as we've mentioned, easier for employees, managers, and HR teams to navigate. Some of our key outcomes that we're looking for with these HR modernization efforts are more consistent HR processes with less rework, stronger compliance and audit readiness, a more intuitive and reliable HR service link experience, clear expectations and accountability across HR and hiring partners, and sustainable leadership and workforce development foundations. Next slide, please. So the first work stream, and we've spent a lot of time already speaking about recruitment, but our first work stream is with recruitment. So our purpose here is to create a more consistent, accountable recruitment process that supports timely hiring and clear expectations for everyone involved. So less guesswork of who's accountable for what part of the process. So again, some key outcomes with this work stream: standardize recruitment workflows that are easier to follow and execute, clear guidance through the updated process maps, SOPs, and job aids, shared accountability between recruiters and hiring managers through defined service level agreements, and better visibility into recruitment performance and bottlenecks. So you heard Karen mention some of the improvements we're doing to our Tableau dashboards to create that visibility, but also some of the process improvement efforts we're making to streamline or remove bottlenecks. Next slide, please. So the next work stream is our HR information systems, and specifically our HR service link. So this is the employee self-service portal. So the purpose here is to improve the HR service link so it works better for employees, managers, and HR, reducing manual work and increasing self-service. Some key outcomes in this work: we'll have a clearer roadmap on how HR Service Link supports core HR services, more automation and self-service for common employee and manager needs, faster, more consistent case handling through AI-supported tools, and streamlined workflows for high-volume processes such as tuition reimbursement and separations, which I know have been a pain point for many across the organization. Next slide, please. The next work stream, workforce development and performance management. Purpose here is to strengthen leadership capability and create clearer pathways for growth and career movement across the organization. So this is led by Janine Sergey and her team. Key outcomes here: practical leadership training that builds real on-the-job skills, clear learning pathways for priority roles, stronger alignment between workforce development and staffing leads, consistent competency frameworks to support development and performance conversations, and more visible, coordinated approach to learning and development. And the last work stream we have for HR operations. So again, bring more consistency, clarity, and sustainability to core HR operational processes. So some of our key outcomes here: clear, standardized HR operational practices supported by SOPs, stronger compliance processes that are easier to maintain and audit, cleaner, more organized HR documentation and templates, reduce reliance on informal or undocumented practices. So this goes back to Director Harrington's comment of that knowledge transfer if anyone leaves, and also more stable, repeatable HR operating model. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you may have.
I think the future looks bright, very bright.
Great,
I love everything I've heard.
great, thank you.
Thank you so much for this report. It does show the work that you've been doing, particularly in addressing areas of nursing, streamlining processes, but maintaining that touch and personal nature that we've always been known and accounted for.
Great, thank you.
All right. As that concludes the agenda that we have, and there's no closed session, we won't be going to closed sessions today, we can move to adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much.